Man, while the anticipation for GTA 6 keeps growing, the thirst for adventures involving mafia, crime, and gangs has never been stronger. With that in mind, I handpicked some of the best crime games that will keep you busy until Rockstar's next masterpiece finally arrives. You'll find a bit of everything here. Classics that defined an era, more modern titles, and experiences where you can be the villain or the hero. It all depends on your point of view. One thing is certain, these games are must-plays, and you need to experience them as soon as possible.
Watch Dogs 2. Let's kick things off with a game that, in my opinion, totally fixed everything the first one got wrong. Watch Dogs 2. Instead of that super serious I'm Batman vibe from the first game, we get Marcus Holloway and the DeadSick crew in San Francisco. It's colorful, it's rebellious, and it feels like a genuine modern-day digital mafia story. What I love about this game is the play your way philosophy. I spent hours just messing with the city's infrastructure, changing traffic lights to cause accidents, or framing random gang members to get them arrested by the police while I just sat back and watched the chaos. The hacking mechanics feel so much more fluid here. You've got drones, jumper bots, and you can literally control almost everything connected to a wire. But it's the vibe that hooked me. Walking through Silicon Valley, taking selfies at the Golden Gate Bridge, and then taking down a corrupt tech giant, it feels empowering. The characters are actually fun to be around, too. They're quirky, they're smartasses, and they feel like a real community of hackers. If you ever felt like the modern world is a bit too controlled, this game lets you be the glitch in the system that breaks everything. It's a total blast.
LA Noire. Now, let's slow things down and head back to the 1940s. LA Noire is a game I keep coming back to because there is literally nothing else like it. You play as Cole Phelps, a war vet turned detective, and the goal isn't just to shoot people, it's to read them. The motion scan technology they used for the faces, man, even in 2026, it's still mind-blowing. I remember leaning into my screen trying to figure out if a suspect was twitching because they were lying or just nervous. It makes the interrogations feel like a high-stakes poker game where one wrong accusation can ruin your whole case. The atmosphere of post-war Los Angeles is just chef's kiss. The jazz, the classic cars that handle like actual boats, and the cynical, smoke-filled room dialogue make you feel like you're inside a classic film noir. It's a slower pace for sure. You'll spend more time looking for clues in trash cans than in high-speed chases, but when you finally piece the evidence together and catch a killer, the rush is incredible. It's a smart adult game that respects your intelligence. If you love The Godfather or Chinatown, you're doing yourself a disservice if you haven't sat in the interrogation seat of LA Noire. Sleeping Dogs. Okay, if there is one game on this list that I will defend until my last breath, it's Sleeping Dogs. It is a crime that we never got a sequel to this. You're Wei Shen, an undercover cop infiltrating the Sun On Yee triads in Hong Kong, and the story is basically a top-tier John Woo movie. The tension of his double life is palpable. You're constantly worried about being found out. But the real star here is the combat. Forget about guns for a second. This is all about brutal, crunching martial arts. I've spent way too much time shoving bad guys into spinning exhaust fans or using a car door to finish a fight. Hong Kong feels so alive in this game. The night markets, the neon signs reflecting in the rain, the sound of the street food stalls. It has an identity that most open worlds just lack. I also love the driving. It has this arcade-like snap to it that makes high-speed chases through narrow alleys feel incredibly satisfying. Wei Shen is such a complex, tortured protagonist, and watching him struggle with his loyalty to his brothers versus his duty as a cop is genuinely emotional. It's a game with a massive heart and some of the best environmental takedowns in gaming history. Seriously, go play it! Yakuza Like a Dragon. Rounding out our first batch is a game that took a massive risk and absolutely nailed it. Yakuza Like a Dragon.
If you're used to the brawler combat of the older Yakuza games, the shift to turn-based RPG might sound weird, but trust me, it works. And it works because of Ichiban Kasuga. He is probably the most lovable protagonist in the whole genre. He's a total dork who is obsessed with Dragon Quest, so he literally sees his fights as RPG battles. It's such a clever way to explain the gameplay shift while keeping that classic Yakuza humor. Don't let the RPG tag fool you, this is still a hardcore crime drama at its core. The story about betrayal in the Arakawa family is gripping, but then the game will ask you to go find some lost cats or run a business empire on the side. It's that balance of serious mafia drama and absolute insanity that makes the series so addictive. Yokohama is a fantastic playground, and the jobs system, where you can be anything from a chef to a breakdancer to fight enemies, is just hilarious. It's a game about friendship, starting over when you've lost everything, and beating up dudes with a baseball bat. It's pure joy in digital form. Judgment. If you love the Yakuza world but want to see it from the other side of the law, you have to check out Judgment. You're playing as Takayuki Yagami, a disgraced lawyer turned private eye in Kamurocho. What I love about this game is how it mixes that brutal, bone-crunching combat we know and love with actual detective work. You're tailing suspects, using drones to spy on meetings, and looking for evidence at crime scenes. It feels like a gritty, modern noir thriller, and the main mystery, trying to find a serial killer targeting Yakuza members, is honestly one of the best stories RGG Studio has ever told. The combat is just chef's kiss. Yagami is way more agile than Kiryu. He's jumping off walls and doing some crazy acrobatic kicks that make every fight look like a movie. But it's the personal stakes that hooked me. You really feel the weight of Yagami's past and his struggle to find the truth in a city that's built on lies. Plus, Kamurocho is packed with the usual distractions, arcades, batting cages, and some of the weirdest side cases you'll ever see. It's a perfect blend of a serious criminal investigation and that classic Japanese quirkiness. If you want a crime drama that actually makes you use your brain while you're breaking jaws, this is the one. Red Dead Redemption 2. I know, it's a Western, but at its heart, Red Dead Redemption 2 is the ultimate outlaw gang simulator. This is the story of a mafia on horseback. The Vanderland gang is a family, and watching that family slowly crumble under the pressure of a changing world is one of the most emotional experiences I've ever had in a game. Arthur Morgan is quite possibly the best protagonist Rockstar has ever written. He's a rough, dangerous man, but the way you can play him, either as a cold-blooded killer or a man looking for a bit of redemption, makes the journey feel so personal. The level of detail is just insane. I spent literal hours just riding through the heartlands, hunting and taking care of my horse. It's a slow burn game and it demands your patience, but the payoff is massive. When a heist goes wrong and the law is closing in, the tension is real. The shootouts feel heavy and desperate, and the world is so alive that you almost forget you're playing a game. It's a tragedy, a masterpiece, and a reminder that the life of crime always comes with a heavy price. If you haven't sat by the campfire and listened to the gang stories, you're missing out on a piece of gaming history. Mafia Definitive Edition. Now, let's talk about the gold standard of the genre. Mafia Definitive Edition is how you do a remake right. They took a classic and rebuilt it from the ground up, making it look and feel like a modern-day masterpiece. You're Tommy Angelo, a cab driver in the 1930s who gets a taste of the life and starts moving up the ranks of the Salieri family. The atmosphere of Lost Heaven is just incredible. The jazz, the long-nosed cars that are actually hard to drive, and the sharp suits. It feels like you've stepped straight into Goodfellas or The Godfather. The story is tight and linear, which I actually find refreshing in a world full of bloated open-world games.
Every mission feels important. One minute you're doing a simple pickup, and the next you're in a massive shootout at a dock or racing in a high-stakes Grand Prix. The relationship between Tommy, Sam, and Paulie is so well written that you genuinely care about what happens to them. It's a story about loyalty, greed, and the realization that once you're in the mob, there's no easy way out. It's a classy, brutal, and incredibly polished experience that every fan of crime stories needs to play. The Godfather II. Okay, this one might be a bit old school, but The Godfather II has some mechanics that I still wish modern crime games would steal. This isn't just a third-person shooter, it's a business management simulator for a mob boss. You're Dominic, the new Don of New York, and your job is to expand the Corleone Empire across New York, Florida, and Cuba. The Don's view is the coolest part. You see a 3D map of the city and decide which businesses to extort, which rival families to attack, and where to send your made men to defend your turf. The RPG elements are actually pretty deep. You recruit soldiers, promote them to capos, and give them specific skills like arson or safe cracking. I spent way too much time planning the perfect takeover of a rival's diamond smuggling ring. The combat is a bit clunky by today's standards, but the feeling of actually running a family is unmatched. You're not just a hitman, you're the strategist. If you've ever wanted to feel like you're sitting in the big chair, making the calls that change the city, this game is a must-play. It captures the management side of the Mafia better than almost anything else out there. GTA 5. I mean, how could we talk about crime games and not mention the 800-pound gorilla in the room? GTA 5 is more than just a game, it's a cultural phenomenon. Even in 2026, the way Los Santos feels alive is still the gold standard. But the real crime soul of this game is the three protagonist system. Switching between Michael's midlife crisis, Franklin's hustle, and Trevor's pure, unhinged chaos is genius. Trevor is probably the most honest representation of a GTA player ever. He's a walking disaster area, and I love every second of his madness. The heists are the absolute highlight for me. Planning the approach, choosing your crew, and then seeing it all go south or perfectly is peak gaming adrenaline. I've spent way too many hours just driving through the Vinewood Hills at sunset, listening to the radio and feeling like I own the city. It's a biting satire of modern America, it's a high-octane action movie, and it's a massive playground where you can be exactly the kind of criminal you want to be. If you're one of the 3 people left on Earth who hasn't played through the story of Michael, Franklin, and Trevor, you need to fix that immediately. Saints Row the Third. If GTA is a gritty crime drama, Saints Row the Third is that drama on 5 different kinds of energy drinks. This game is absolute beautiful insanity. You're the leader of the 3rd Street Saints, and you aren't just a gang, you're a global brand. One minute you're skydiving into a penthouse party while Kanye West's Power plays, and the next you're driving a tank through the streets just to cause property damage. It's a game that knows exactly how ridiculous it is and leans into it 100%. The hook here is just the pure, unadulterated fun. The customization is legendary. You can make your character look like a blue-skinned alien or a dapper mob boss, and the game doesn't blink an eye. I personally loved the Hordode mode and the shark gun, because where else are you going to see that? It's the perfect palate cleanser if you're tired of serious crime stories. It's loud, it's purple, and it's a reminder that sometimes being the boss of a criminal empire should just be a total blast. It's a crime against fun if you haven't experienced the chaos of Steelport. Payday 2. Now, let's talk about a game that's all about the professional side of things.
Payday 2 is the ultimate bank robbery simulator. There's something incredibly addictive about putting on that clown mask and hearing the beat drop as the police start their assault. But the real beauty of this game is the stealth. I've spent hours with my crew trying to pull off a shadow raid, sneaking in, disabling cameras, and moving bags of gold without ever firing a single bullet. The tension of seeing a guard turn the corner right when you're picking a lock, that's the good stuff. The progression system is massive. You're constantly unlocking new skills, weapons, and masks to build your perfect heister. Whether you want to be the mastermind controlling the crowd or the enforcer with a giant shotgun, the game gives you the tools. It's a game that rewards teamwork and planning, and when a high-stakes heist finally pays out, that payday screen is the most satisfying thing in the world. It's gritty, it's loud, and it captures the heat of a movie like Heat better than almost anything else. Grab some friends, put on the mask, and go get that bread. Hitman World of Assassination. To round out this batch, we have the most sophisticated crime game on the list, Hitman World of Assassination. You aren't a street thug or a mob boss here. You are Agent 47, a silent predator. This game is basically a giant series of murder puzzles. I love how it rewards your creativity. Sure, you could just shoot your target, but why do that when you can dress up as a world-class chef and poison their sushi? Or loosen a chandelier so it accidentally falls on them during a fashion show? The levels are like miniature living dioramas. From a high-tech hospital in Hokkaido to a racing event in Miami, the detail is staggering. I've spent hours just eavesdropping on NPCs to find mission stories that lead to some of the most hilarious and dark eliminations ever. It's a game of patience, disguises, and accidents. It's cold, it's professional, and it's incredibly satisfying to walk out of a high-security mansion while everyone is panicking, knowing you're the one who pulled the strings. It's the thinking man's crime game, and it's an absolute masterclass in level design. Cyberpunk 2027. Man, I have to talk about Cyberpunk 2027. This game had one of the craziest journeys in history, but playing it now, in 2026, it's a literal masterpiece. Night City is, without a doubt, the most beautiful and atmospheric digital crime environment ever built. I've spent literal hours just riding my motorcycle through the neon-drenched streets of Japantown at 2 a.m., listening to the radio and just soaking in the cyber mafia vibes. You've got the Tiger Claws, the Valentinos, the Maelstrom. It feels like a futuristic version of a mob war, and you're right in the middle of it. The story of V and Johnny Silverhand, played by the legend Keanu Reeves, is so personal and emotional. It's not just about crime, it's about survival and legacy. The gameplay gives you so much freedom. I personally love going for a Netrunner build, hacking into cameras and making a gang leader's own cyberware explode while I'm sitting in my car across the street. But if you want to go full solo with a shotgun and chrome-enhanced arms, the combat feels punchy and violent. It's a game that asks deep questions about humanity while letting you be a total badass mercenary. If you walked away from it at launch, please go back. It's the definitive sci-fi crime experience. Infamous Second Son. Now, for something a bit different, but definitely fits that rebel against the system crime vibe, Infamous Second Son. I still use this game as a benchmark for how good a game can look. Even years later, the particle effects when Delsin Rowe uses his powers are mind-blowing. When you dash through a vent as smoke or run up a skyscraper using neon light to take down a DUP checkpoint, it's pure eye candy. Delsin himself is a bit of a rebellious punk caught in a city that treats people with powers like high-level criminals. The gameplay is all about speed and verticality. You're basically a one-man gang fighting against an oppressive government force.
Each power set you unlock feels completely different. Neon makes you a high-speed sniper, while Video makes you feel like a digital ghost. It's a bit of a smaller open world compared to GTA, but I actually prefer that because every alleyway in Seattle feels intentional. The karma system lets you decide if you're going to be a hero for the people or a true villain who doesn't care about collateral damage. It's a fast-paced, flashy, and incredibly fun sandbox that makes you feel powerful from the very first minute. It's the perfect game for a weekend binge when you want to break all the rules. Lost Judgment. Finally, we're closing the book with Lost Judgment. If the first Judgment was a great noir thriller, this sequel is a full-blown masterpiece of a legal and criminal drama. You're back as Yagami, but this time the stakes are so much higher, involving a bullying case that spirals into a massive conspiracy between high-ranking officials and the criminal underworld. The story is dark, really dark, and it tackles some heavy themes that'll have you thinking long after the credits roll. It's the kind of writing that makes you realize why the Yakuza Judgment team are the best in the business. The combat has been tuned to perfection here. You've got different fighting styles like Crane, Tiger, and the new Snake style, which is all about disarming enemies and using their own fear against them. I spent way too much time in this school story side content too. Joining a dance club or a robotics club while undercover is hilarious and deep. But when the drama kicks in, it hits like a ton of bricks. The final boss fight? Man, the choreography and the emotional weight behind it, it's probably one of my favorites in all of gaming. It's a game about justice, revenge, and the gray areas in between. If you want a crime game that actually has something to say, this is the grand finale you need. And there you have it, guys. The top crime and Mafia games that it's a total crime you haven't played yet. Whether you want to be a detective in the 40s, a futuristic mercenary, or a mob boss running the family business, there's something here to keep you busy until we finally get our hands on GTA 6. But I want to know, which of these is your must-play? Is there a hidden gem I missed that you're addicted to? Drop a comment below and let's talk about it. I read as many as I can.